The UI should hopefully disappear here in just a second, but we got ourselves Dukey Fighter, my favorite Mog, favorite backstory. This man, his armor, it's rusty, but it's brown not because it's rusty. This man has been down in his kingdom. He is the Dukey Fighter. He's got the shovels. He's digging for gold. Rada and Duke are trying to figure out who's first, who's last, trying to figure out the order. But Rada is going to be first up versus Stanky as a Windwalker trying to close the gap, trying not to use the monk mobility, staying mounted until he can reach the mage, which is the correct move in my opinion. Rada with a bit of a burst here. You got to be very careful as it is an Arcane mage. That's a lot of instantaneous damage, especially with the missiles. Got to interrupt it whenever he can, trying to find a way to close the gap. He does have quite a bit of survivability and he's going to have to rotate it pretty early on, trying to go for that clash, hoping to get the mage locked down. But the blink has been used. I don't know if he's got himself a leg sweep here. He should potentially be able to just leg him real quick. Quick interrupt on the shifting power, trying to see if he can deny him the cooldown reduction. Karma was used really early. Got himself the celestial counter for a bit of self-heal, but also quite a bit of damage onto the mage, who is able to create some distance away. Thanky might be quite under a lot of pressure. He does have defenses still, has himself self-healing, but that zonal pressure by Seamark. Try to see if he can go with a ring of fire in one corner, boop him back with an Arcane sphere, sitting down for food as soon as possible, trying to keep Thanky on his toes, and with the Nova able to separate him. Thanky needs to be very careful with his blinks, because if Seamark blinks too early, you can lock him down. Interrupt could be good for a leg sweep. Doesn't go for a leg sweep yet. Does have himself one more defensive. Might be under a ton of pressure though. Does he have a heal? He needs a way to get himself a little bit of survivability. And still more missiles chasing him right behind the pillar. Got himself through the miss. But Seamark's mobility, ever since they took away the chrono shift, is a little bit more limited than before. And I think that is here what helped Monk survived just for a second there. Got himself at least a bit of a breather, because normally Seamark would be able to sprint back there very quickly. Arcane sphere on one side, trying to Nova down the Monk. Ring of Fire, not letting him sit behind the pillar. He has to get out there, out in the open. Got himself what looks like maybe a battle message trinket or a damaging trinket. Shifted powers up for Arcane, but he's trying to see if he can boop him back towards himself. Looking for a heal here and there. Trying to find a way to close that gap. Trying also not to get interrupted if at all possible. Verifies is like the only thing that's really keeping him alive. Lexium, locking him for a second. Karma last moment does give him a bit of survivability. Clash to pull the mage towards him, but it's going to be a reverse blink to reposition away from the guy still rooted, but got himself the distance. Just need a couple more barrages. Potential kind of doing a bit of damage, but it's an ultra, and I don't know if there's a way for the Monk to go to escape that type of a lockdown, man. That's a rough situation to be in. I was just trying to see if he can sit down. The gold digger, he is digging for gold. That is true. Although what he considers gold, one man's treasure is another man's well, Dookie, I imagine. Video this team, we got Liana as well as Yurima this team as well. Standing by, I don't even know if they'll be able to chance to play if Seamark is blasted like he normally is. Massive touch of the Magi. The Feral having to go for a lot of recovery. Might be under. Oh my God, I don't think there's a way to counter it. Once you build up the touch of the Magi, maybe you pop in a bear and barely survive, but I don't know if there's a chance there. Successive is going to be up next as an enhancement shaman. Got him some ghost rules, but isn't able to find Seamark, is able to escape. Was there just no bleeds, or do you have just a shield to deal with the bleeds while it goes invis? I don't know. One of those two. That is an evocation. For successive, he is playing Ascendance, so you might be able to just to ascend past the damage of Seamark. Ring of Fire together with a Chronosphere. Try to see if you keep that zonal action going. Touch of the Magic, walling this off. Try to make sure he has a counter for the burst. Got himself also the Totem to give himself a little bit more shielding for time. Zapping him from a distance. He is Stormbringer, I believe, yeah? Last to follow. He just gotta get close enough, get a couple of Storm Strikes until he can get himself the Tempest proc. And I think that Ring of Fire does end up clipping the Arcane Orb to clip. Yeah, he just can't sit still behind the pillar. Dampening is not even that high. And Seamark is still able to put in quite a bit of pressure. I don't think they changed the Shaman self-healing, did they? I think if anything, maybe it got a little better. Missiles around the corner, not feeling better at all though. Got himself Ascend. At this point, he just wants to get in. Guardian, maybe blew his load a little bit too early with that Ascend, but he's still trying to make some kind of damage happen. Got himself set up, potentially big lightning bolts. Does he have enough? Seamark trying to see if he can poke in and out, trying to see if he can be maybe not super careful here. Guy's Ultra, if he purges the Ultra, let's go put the Mage on the back foot here. Massive burst onto the successive. Does himself a heal, but a roll bowling ball just rolls over him. There isn't much he could do. Is Johnny Boy next? No, it's gonna be Killer as a survival hunter. I think still playing a Sentinel build, right? Potentially. If you can lock Seamark down in that Sentinel like shower storm ability, that's a lot of damage. It's hard to do so in PvE. but it is still highly effective. Grenades, he does himself plenty of damage from distance, and Seavark won't be able to easily escape it. Goes in for Harpoon, try to go for an interrupt, does not quite get it. And still plenty of pressure onto the mage. He got himself a proper silence too. Touch of the Magi onto Killer. He got himself a pretty good counter for the Touch of the Magi. He needs to get himself a kick somehow, some way somehow into Vrada if possible. He does have muzzle, does go for biting shot. That's going to be all the time. Full damage. Touch of the Magi does expire a little bit too early. Still quite a bit of damage loading up on the mage. He is getting himself a little bit of recovery, but that explosive puts him behind here. Got himself barrages for Killer, looking for that shift to power, and Killer looking for a bit of recovery of his own. He needs to get aggressive. For Killer playing Sentinel, he gets a shield as he does that arcane damage from the Sentinel hero talent. The more aggression he puts out onto Seavark, basically, the more survivability he gets. He gotta play super aggro build. And he's trying to see if he can go for a bit of that range damage, and he's got himself quite a bit. Seavark does not have a lot of health to work with. Ice Block might be used really early here. Does get himself that Harpoon, hoping to close the gap. Might be enough. Oh, Killer still had Touch the Magi. Does he just die to touch? I honestly did not expect for him to die to the Touch of Magi. I thought he was going to live there for a while. Johnny Boy's Beast Mastery Hunter up next. He's got himself the pets. He's got himself a setup. He's got himself what looks like a Basilisk build, or is that another talent? I think it might be Basilisk. I'm not 100% though. Evocation out of Seavark as we head into the 6-minute mark. Not even a 30% dampening only now, actually. Johnny Boy, as long as he can get himself that good line of sight over Seavark, he might be okay running through the fire, just trying to see if he can create himself that light of sight. But Seavark is mobile here, stunned to follow, does have a blink. It's going to be a lot of pets surrounding the guy. If he can just get on top of those pets, then I think it might be okay. Touch of the Magi. Oh! I was just going to say Touch of the Magi and missiles. Maybe that'll do something. And then just pop like a balloon. Dookie Fighter first up and running versus Johnny Boy. Got himself the BM versus Survival versus Fury Warrior this time around. Trying to see if he can get himself a proper setup here as he got full Slayer Bladestorm, baby. With the reflect on the Freezer Trap. Stunlock to follow. Johnny Boy may need some cooldowns. Trying to see if he can back up out of there. Just backing up out of the situation completely. What is Johnny Boy? I don't think anybody's playing the Black Arrow ability, are they? I think most people are pack leader, so he should be able to get himself a lot of healing whenever he gets super low, but definitely needs to do something more than just backpedaling, but he's gonna backpedal against a wall at some point. I don't think you can fight a Fury Warrior. You gotta fully surround him with these pets, unless you can just trust those pets to an nth degree. I think this man gotta try to see if he can bail out of there as best as possible. He's trying, man. He's trying. The Basilisk does walk over, but Dookie surrounded by pets, and he's just perfectly comfy. Takes absolutely 0 damage. That's unfortunate, man. That's unfortunate. You definitely gotta run, kite, stop down traps, use that disengage, everything, right? Bail out of there, because BM Hunter can do quite a bit of damage. I think we had Liana play this BM a couple of weeks ago, maybe now. Danky going in for full burst. It's going to be everything. Fist of Fury off of the Celestial. Got himself. Zuen joins in, and Dookie trying to see if he can back up out of the clash back in. Forged back into combat. Quick fear. And that's going to be no trinket for Thanky. Got himself yet another Fist of Fury. Bladestorm cannot bypass it. It gives Thanky plenty of defensive options to work with. And it's going to be a bit of a reflect for any kind of nature, any kind of Zuen style damage. Just trying to see if he can get himself any recovery whatsoever. Unless he's got a stun. I think it just might be lights out. Isn't she death? Hold on, wait a second. Holy no, Dookie, never mind. This man was not even worried. Instead, he was the one who was actually winning the entire time, apparently. I don't even know where the damage came from, but he just stacked it up out of left field. Health started dropping for Thanky. I don't even think he realized that his health started dipping out of nowhere. It's not just the Slayer playstyle, dude. That's just the raw power of the Slayer. It's in the name, baby. Oh my god, full. Oh, that Tempest looks beautiful. It even sounds amazing too. A successive goes in for full ascent that just sends the boy back into the afterlife. Or back to the scrap pile, the junk heap. He is a, what is it? He is a, also those wolves are getting hammered right now. Massive hammer out of MIDI. I'm trying to like junk heap, not, I'm trying to make it like thematic because he's got a mog that matches his name. I'm trying to make it all thematic around the lore of, what is it, the Mechanos. I'm trying to remember. Isn't it, I guess, a random joke heap? I don't even know, man. MIDI does not have Crusade by the looks of it here. Unless he's playing not Ascendance. I'm confusing abilities left and right. Truth's Wake Build. Holy hell, the hammer! hammers. They're just rocking Killer. Might be under a ton of pressure. And he's trying to see if he can back himself out of it. Is he still Sentinel? Honestly, I think maybe Sentinel is good for raw damage, but I think the pack leader now has gotten so much better. Killer does go for a shot him out. Still not out of the woods in this situation. If Midi got himself yet another one of those hammers coming down, I feel like that could be a ton of damage. He is Sentinel, actually, because he does have the little arcade damage that's still hitting Midi. Blessing protection could remove it. Potentially, hold on. Midi might have actually used the immunity way too early, but still got plenty of hammer just crashing down the entire time, dude. The big hammer as well as the little hammers all do a solid bit of damage, like a surprising amount of damage. I feel like a lot of paladins are setting up to be Templar for certain. Big Convoke out of the Feral Druid does get himself an interrupt and a stun trigger to follow. Still got bites on the guy. I don't know if he has immunity, but does go in for a quick bite around the corner. Bites the Pally on the left butt cheek, and it's up to Liana, Yarim, or Seavark, one of those guys. Which is Seavark is not next. He's like, you know what? I'm not me. Not me. Is it Liana? Is it Yarim? I think they're potentially waiting on Yarim, but Deathlight does get himself a quick kill. A pet spec where passes 0 damage, cool game design. Was Beast Mastery there? I don't think it was. I mean, maybe it was that. It's always a question of like, well, maybe it has the right cooldown, but like, Beast Mastery is a little bit more dot heavy this expansion. Like if you read the actual breakdown, Chris, by the way, how you doing? If you read the breakdown for Beast Mastery, at least from PvE angle, there is a lot of synergy with pets and damage over time mechanics. Like there's even a talent that makes your pets do more damage per dot. So you might have just not had like the right build that plays into that dot heavy build, but it essentially should make your pets super juiced up. That life to survive in the touch of magic just fine, utilizing all of his bear and druid non-feral affinities in order to keep himself afloat here with a bit of a self-heal. Does try to go in for a Skull Bash onto Rearm. That is going to be a quick lockout for this one. A Deathlight maybe looking at potentially utilizing his other last bit of defensive with that Heart of the Wild potentially. He's not in an amazing spot, trying to get himself as much help and recovery as best as possible. Got himself a plenty of good Convoke. He just needs to find a way to get a blink out of Yarim and then Convoke him down once he has blinked, or if you can interrupt him on Arcane and then Convoke, that's another way of going about it. You just got to be very careful. Try to go for a kick, does not connect you. Minion more defenses, that isn't touching the magic, could potentially be a lot of damage, unless he's got something for some bear from Heart of the Wild. That should be potentially enough survivability, especially if you got enough bear druid talents in the class tree. Those should give you a lot more survivability, damage reduction, extra stamina, as well as that frenzied regen for more healing. Does get a cyclone on the mage at the very least, and only 28% damage, so he's able to do a bit of recovery. Trying to play into the Wild Stalker, I think. Talents. Stun, does have a blink. I don't know if you can maybe get him. You need an interrupt at some point on the Arcane missiles. I think that's the only way you really get a proper Convoke, because if you go for a Convoke, wait, maim, still maybe interrupted, or not. Convoke into Icebug, though, doesn't really do much. But it's still, at least you're able to get a pretty decent defensive Yarim. So you traded what, a minute cooldown ability for a 4-minute cooldown? That is probably the better trade you can get. Skull Bash does lock him down. Bite, he just needs a couple more of those. He needs to get that brutal Feral Frenzy on the guy as soon as possible. Ultra up for Yarim. But if he got himself a setup, just use that Feral Frenzy. He got himself the cooldowns. He just needs to press the frenzy button. There it goes. Potentially big damage here. Yarim gonna be under a ton of pressure. Potentially magic for Yarim though. He doesn't even care about his health bar. He's just looking at the orange health bar, looking to deplete it as fast as possible. This man. Dude, I was ready for the Feral Druid too. I was like, oh no. I want this Feral to win. I wanted to fight Yarim. I wanted to fight the Hunter and the other mage. I was close actually, man. I was close. That's mage for you though. You don't have to look out for your health bar. You're like, you know what? Yeah, just put out Arcane mages. Yeah, Arcane in particular is